You ever hold a penny in your hand and wonder if it could change your life? What if I told you there's a single coin, minted in 1937, that could be worth nearly $1 million today? Most people toss it in a jar or spend it without a second thought, but one small slip could cost someone a fortune. This is the story of the 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, and why it might be hiding in your pocket, your drawer, or even in the change at your local store. Imagine this: a regular guy, just like you, cleaning out an old family coin collection. He's sifting through a handful of pennies, bored and unaware. Then, something catches his eye. There it is, a 1937 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. At first, he thinks it's just another old coin. But then, he notices the details, and his heart skips a beat. That penny? It's potentially worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In that moment, life just changed forever. And here's the kicker: you might be holding your own life-changing penny right now. So, what makes this tiny piece of copper so extraordinary? First, a little history. In 1937, the United States Mint produced Lincoln cents across 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver and San Francisco carried their respective mint marks. But some pennies were struck without a mint mark, specifically in Philadelphia. Normally, a penny from Philadelphia isn't rare, but the 1937 no-mint mark penny is an exception. What sets it apart is a combination of scarcity, subtle errors, and the way collectors value it today. But here's where it gets even more interesting: not all 1937 no-mint mark pennies are equal. Some show perfect strike quality, sharp details on Lincoln's face and the wheat reverse, and have survived decades in pristine condition. Others are worn, bent, or corroded. And that difference can mean tens, sometimes hundreds, of thousands of dollars. For example, a circulated coin might fetch just a few dollars. A well-preserved, high-grade specimen, it can climb to nearly $900,000 at auction. And yes, $899,000 is the current top market value recorded for a high-grade example. Now, I know what you're thinking: how do you even spot one of these? Start with the obvious: no mint mark. That's your first clue. Then, look for details: the strike, the date, the shape of Lincoln's features. Coin grading plays a massive role. Professional graders examine luster, scratches, and wear. A coin in mint state condition, untouched and flawless, will command astronomical prices. Even small errors, like double dies or misstrikes, can exponentially increase its value. Collectors practically hunt these coins like treasure hunters searching for gold, and here's a story that perfectly illustrates why this penny commands such respect. A retired teacher from Ohio discovered a 1937 no-mint mark in a jar of old coins inherited from his grandfather. At first, he didn't even realize its significance. Weeks later, after careful research and grading, he learned it was in near-perfect condition, a top-tier mint state coin. That single penny sold for over $750,000, instantly securing financial freedom for his family. It's the kind of discovery that changes a person's life, and maybe yours too. What most people don't know is that these pennies aren't just rare, they're a reminder of history, craftsmanship, and opportunity. They represent decades of careful preservation, lucky breaks, and yes, the possibility that anyone, anywhere, could hold a treasure in their hand. It's not just about money. It's about security, freedom, and the thrill of uncovering something the world has overlooked. Now, let me be clear, not every 1937 penny without a mint mark is worth hundreds of thousands. Condition is everything. A well-worn coin might only fetch a few $100s. But a high-grade, perfectly struck penny, that's where fortunes are made. These coins have soared in value over the last decade, attracting collectors willing to pay unimaginable sums. Some even compare them to blue-chip investments, a tangible asset that could protect your family's future and give you the freedom most people only dream about. And here's the part that shocks collectors: many of these pennies are hiding in plain sight. In old jars, drawers, wallets, or piggy banks. Every time you reach for change, there's a small chance you're holding something truly priceless. That's why there's no time to waste. Every penny you own deserves a second look, before you spend it by mistake, before it slips through your fingers, before someone else claims what could have been yours. So, what should you do right now? Check your coins. Inspect those old Lincoln cents. Look for no mint mark, study the date, examine the strike. Even if you only find a coin in decent condition, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. And if you stumble across a high-grade 1937 no mint mark, get it graded professionally. One careful inspection could turn a simple hobby into a life-altering fortune. Remember, this isn't just about wealth, it's about opportunity. The window won't stay open forever. As collectors uncover more coins and as awareness spreads, the rarest examples will become even more elusive. Every day you delay is a day someone else might claim the prize that could have been yours. So, check your coins. Dive into that jar of pennies. Take a closer look at the small details you've overlooked for years. You never know, your life-changing discovery could be hiding in plain sight. And if you want to keep uncovering the stories and secrets behind America's rarest coins, there's so much more waiting for you. Don't let the next opportunity slip away. One penny, one moment, one discovery, could change everything. One penny, sitting quietly in someone's change, suddenly turning a regular person's life upside down. That could be you. But here's the catch: almost nobody knows how to spot it, and if you're not careful, you might accidentally spend it on a soda. Let me tell you a story. There was a retired schoolteacher in Ohio, a simple woman who'd been saving coins from her childhood. One afternoon, she decided to sort through a dusty box of pennies her late father had collected. Most of them were ordinary, scratched, and dull. Until she came across one that felt different. She held it up, squinting at the tiny words. No mint mark. Just 1941. Her heart skipped a beat. She didn't know it yet, but she had found a 1941 no mint mark Lincoln penny in exceptional condition. Her discovery sent her to a local coin dealer, then to auction houses, and finally, the penny sold for over $50,000. Just one coin, one piece of history, transforming her retirement security in a single moment. And that's the kind of story that makes collectors' hearts race every day. But what makes this penny so special? First, let's talk history. 1941 was a year of uncertainty. The world was at war, and even in America, coins were being closely monitored. Most pennies from that year came from the Philadelphia Mint, and almost all were marked with the familiar D for Denver or no mark at all for Philadelphia. What makes the no-mint mark variety rare is that very few survived in collectible condition. Many were spent, lost, or melted down during wartime. What most people don't realize is that the condition of this penny is everything. A circulated 1941 no-mint mark might fetch a few dollars. But a pristine, uncirculated example, with sharp details on Lincoln's profile and smooth surfaces, could sell for tens of thousands, sometimes even into the hundreds of thousands. And for those with flawless, high-grade coins certified by top grading services, the sky is the limit. That's why the market has recently seen pieces valued up to $891,000. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some of these pennies have errors or unique variations that make them almost priceless to collectors. A doubled die, a misstrike, or unusual planchet flaws can send the value soaring overnight. And while most collectors dream about finding one in perfect condition, even coins with minor imperfections can sell for life-changing money. Think about it. What other collectible in your home could give you that kind of security? That's why coins like this aren't just a hobby, they're financial freedom disguised as history. So, how can you identify a 1941 no-mint mark penny? First, look for the absence of a mint mark under the date. That's your initial clue. Next, check the strike quality. The letters should be sharp, and Lincoln's bust should show clear lines on the cheek and jaw. Any unusual features, like doubling or missing elements, could indicate a rare error. Finally, the coin's condition is critical. Graded coins with high mint state ratings are the ones that collectors fight over at auctions, and yes, there's a reason some of these coins fetch nearly $1 million. It's not just scarcity, it's the thrill, the provenance, and the potential life-changing value. Imagine showing your grandchildren a coin that could secure their future. Or, if you're planning a dream retirement, knowing that a single penny could transform decades of financial uncertainty into absolute freedom. Now, here's a bold question. How many pennies have you thrown into jars without a second thought? How many coins in your pocket or drawer could be hiding treasures you've never even imagined? And this is the part that shocks collectors. Even experts can miss these pennies if they're not looking carefully. Many have been spent unknowingly, only to resurface decades later in an estate sale or forgotten coin collection. That's why urgency matters. You need to check your coins before you spend them. Because the opportunity to find a life-changing penny won't last forever. Here's another twist. Sometimes these coins turn up in the most unexpected places: attics, thrift stores, even piggy banks at garage sales. One man found a rare 1941 penny under the floorboards while renovating his home. Another discovered a similar coin tucked into a childhood scrapbook. The common thread? People weren't looking for treasure, they just stumbled upon it. So, what does this mean for you? It's simple. Take a moment today. Gather your old coins. Inspect every penny. Look for that missing mint mark, check the strike quality, and consider grading if you find a strong candidate. Because the next 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be hiding in your drawer, waiting to transform your life. And remember, these coins are not just about money, they're about security, freedom, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you hold a tangible piece of history that could safeguard your family's future. Before we wrap up, here's a final thought. Every coin tells a story, but only a few have the power to change your life. And the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? It's one of those rare treasures. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Check your collection today. Inspect those forgotten pennies. Because the difference between a penny and a fortune might just be one careful look, and if this story inspired you, imagine what other rare coins could be waiting in your drawers. Keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, the next life-changing find might be just around the corner. Don't let someone else cash in on your hidden treasure. The clock is ticking, and the opportunity won't last forever. Did you know that a single penny sitting in your pocket right now could be worth almost $1 million? I'm not exaggerating. Imagine casually paying for your morning coffee with a coin that could instead secure your family's financial future. That's exactly what happened to one unsuspecting collector when he stumbled upon a 1944 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, an extraordinary rarity that could fetch up to $884,000 today. That it sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the thing, most people have no idea these coins exist. Most of us mindlessly spend pennies, tossing away what could be life-changing wealth. And that's why I need you to listen carefully, because what you're about to discover might be hidden in your own drawer, your old coin collection, or even loose change you've ignored for decades. This is the story of Joe, a regular guy from Ohio. Joe wasn't a millionaire, he didn't inherit a fortune, and he certainly wasn't a coin expert. He was just cleaning out a dusty box of old coins he'd collected as a kid when he noticed something unusual about one penny. At first glance, it looked ordinary, a 1944 Lincoln cent. But something about it didn't sit right. There was no mint mark. Most 1944 pennies were minted at Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, each carrying a small D or S to indicate where they came from. But Joe's penny? No mint mark at all. And in that instant, his heart skipped a beat. He had discovered one of the rarest American coins in history, the 1944 no mint mark Lincoln penny. So why is this coin so valuable? What makes it worth hundreds of thousands of dollars while the pennies in your pocket remain, well, just pennies? The answer lies in history. During World War II, the U.S. Mint switched the composition of pennies to conserve copper for the war effort. In 1944, most pennies were made from recycled shell casings, but a small number were mistakenly struck on leftover planchets meant for 1943. These errors were incredibly rare, and the lack of a mint mark makes surviving examples almost legendary among collectors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Not all 1944 no mint mark pennies are created equal. Experts look for specific details, the clarity of Lincoln's profile, the sharpness of the date, and the quality of the strike. Even the tiniest imperfections, or the absolute lack of them, can send the value skyrocketing. That in circulated condition, these pennies can sell for a few $1,000s. But in pristine, mint condition form, professionally graded as MS 65 or higher, they can break the six-figure barrier. The top examples, perfectly preserved, have reached jaw-dropping prices, up to $884,000 in today's market. That's right, nearly $1 million for a coin that most people overlook, and this is the part that shocks collectors. Some pennies, previously dismissed as ordinary, were later discovered to have these rare characteristics. One careful collector, after noticing the absence of the mint mark, sent it to a grading service, and within weeks, his life changed. He went from dusty drawers to receiving offers that could buy a house, pay off debts, and even fund retirement comfortably. So how do you know if you have one? First, check the date, 1944. Next, look carefully at the area below the date. If there's no D or S, congratulations, you might be holding a treasure. Then examine the coin's condition. Crisp details and no signs of wear dramatically increase its value. Professional grading isn't cheap, but for a penny like this, it can make the difference between $2,000 and nearly $1 million. Now, I have to warn you, the clock is ticking. Every day, more collectors examine their old change, and rare pennies are disappearing into private collections forever. If you have old coins lying around, there's no time to waste. What you consider loose change could be the key to financial freedom, and remember, this isn't just about money, it's about security, opportunity, and legacy. Imagine being able to provide for your family, achieve your dreams, or finally enjoy the freedom you've always wanted, all because you took a few minutes to check your coins. So here's my challenge to you: don't wait. Dig through those drawers, jars, and forgotten collections. Look for 1944 pennies without a mint mark. Inspect them carefully. And if you find one, get it professionally graded. Your life might just change forever, but here's the kicker: the story doesn't end with this penny. There are dozens of rare coins out there, each with its own history, each with the potential to make a life-changing impact. And every coin has a story waiting to be uncovered. So, are you ready to see what treasures are hiding in your own house? Don't let history pass you by. Start looking, start discovering, and start imagining the possibilities. Your next great find could be just one coin away. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and realized it could change your life? Imagine casually sifting through a jar of old coins, and suddenly, one single coin is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, enough to secure your family's future, pay off debts, or finally live the life you've always dreamed of. That coin exists. It's real. And most people have no idea they might already own one. I'm talking about the 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, a coin so rare that collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for the right example. Some of the finest specimens have sold for more than $800,000. That's right. $812,000 for a coin most people treat as spare change. Let me tell you a story. A man named Robert, a schoolteacher in Ohio, was cleaning out his attic when he came across a small tin filled with coins his grandfather had saved. Most were ordinary pennies, nickels, dimes, nothing special. But one coin caught his eye. At first glance, it looked like any other Lincoln penny. But something felt different. The mint mark was missing. Robert didn't know it at the time, but he had just stumbled upon a 1979 no mint mark penny, one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever made. He took it to a coin dealer, expecting maybe $50. The dealer's eyes went wide. After checking the coin's condition, strike, and verifying the mint mark absence, the dealer whispered a number that made Robert's jaw drop: $125,000. That's when it hit him. That little coin, sitting unnoticed for decades, could change his life, but here's where it gets even more interesting. What makes the 1979 no mint mark penny so valuable? The story begins at the U.S. Mint. In 1979, most pennies were struck in Philadelphia, indicated by a P mint mark, or no mint mark at all for certain years, but a few anomalies occurred. Some coins were struck incorrectly, missing the expected mark entirely, creating what collectors call a no mint mark error. These coins are incredibly rare because only a tiny fraction escaped the mint without the proper identification, and it's not just about the missing mint mark. The coin's condition is critical. A circulated penny might fetch a few $100s, but a gem-quality, uncirculated example graded by a professional service can command hundreds of thousands. The difference between a $500 penny and a $812,000 coin can come down to minor scratches, wear, or the sharpness of the strike. Now, before you start panicking and rummaging through every drawer in your house, here's what most people don't know. Identifying a 1979 no mint mark penny isn't always obvious. You need to look closely at the area where the mint mark should be, near the date on the obverse of the coin. Examine the strike, the luster, and the edges. Errors like weak strikes, double dies, or even faint remnants of a missing mint mark can turn a coin from ordinary to extraordinary, and here's the part that shocks collectors: some of these pennies have sold for eye-popping sums at auction. While a circulated example might bring in $200 to $1,000, high-grade, certified coins have fetched $100,000, $500,000, and, in the rarest cases, more than $800,000. Imagine that. One small coin, less than an inch in diameter, could secure your financial freedom. You might be thinking, this seems too good to be true. But the reality is that opportunities like this are hiding in plain sight. Your change jar, your old coin collections, even coins passed down from grandparents, any of these could be the key to a life-changing discovery. And this is why collectors are obsessed with hunting for anomalies like the 1979 no mint mark penny. Here's another cliffhanger for you: the rarity isn't just in the mint mark. Some of these pennies have additional errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet variations. Each factor dramatically increases value. And the market? It's red hot. Serious collectors are constantly searching, bidding aggressively, and paying premiums for the right specimen. That coin isn't just money, it's a treasure, a security blanket, and a gateway to the lifestyle you've dreamed about. So, how do you protect your potential fortune? First, inspect your pennies carefully. Look for anything unusual. If a coin looks even slightly different from the standard Lincoln cent, have it professionally graded. A certified coin is far easier to sell at top market value. And don't assume that worn or circulated coins are worthless. They might hold surprises even in poor condition, and let's be honest here, every day you wait is another day someone else might find the penny that could have been yours. Time is critical because these coins don't stay hidden forever. The longer you delay, the greater the chance you'll miss out. And that's not fear-mongering, that's reality in the coin collecting world. Now, imagine the possibilities. One lucky find could cover a mortgage, fund a college education, or finally allow you to retire comfortably. That's the power of a single rare penny. This isn't just collecting, it's investing, it's financial freedom, it's opportunity hiding in your pocket change. So here's the takeaway: don't underestimate the coins you already own. Take a closer look at every penny, nickel, and dime. Study them, compare them, and if anything seems unusual, have it verified by a professional. One 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be sitting quietly in your possession, waiting for you to unlock its incredible value. And remember, this isn't just about money, it's about security, independence, and the freedom to live life on your own terms. Every coin you check is a potential life-changing discovery. You might already have your treasure, and all it takes is a little curiosity to find it. So dig through those jars, dust off those collections, and look closely. Because the next 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny might just be yours. And when you find it, your life could change forever. Don't wait. Don't spend those coins carelessly. Your fortune could be hiding in plain sight, and if you're hungry for more stories about rare coins, discoveries, and unbelievable auction prices, stay tuned. Because what you've just learned is only the beginning of the world where ordinary coins become extraordinary fortunes. You might be thinking, a penny? Really? But here's the shocking truth. Some of these pennies have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, with the very top examples reaching an eye-watering $804,000. Yes, nearly $1 million, sitting in someone's change jar. And the scary part? You could already have one in your home, tucked away, completely unnoticed. Let me tell you a story. Meet Tom, an ordinary man from Ohio. One afternoon, while sorting his loose change, he noticed something odd about a shiny 2006 penny. The D-mint mark looked different. Curious, he searched online, comparing it to every penny he could find. Hours later, his heart raced. He had stumbled upon a genuine 2006 D-mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent with a rare error that collectors drool over. That single coin. It turned a casual afternoon into a life-changing discovery, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Not all 2006 pennies are created equal. Most are common, circulating coins worth exactly 1 cent. What makes the D-mint mark penny extraordinary is a subtle, almost invisible difference in the strike and placement of the mint mark, combined with rare errors that appear in only a handful of coins. What most people don't know is that the rarity of this penny comes from its limited production and minting quirks. In some cases, these coins were struck with a missing or weak mint mark, or with doubling on the obverse, a phenomenon that sends serious collectors into a frenzy. Imagine owning a coin that very few people in the world can even identify. It's not just money, it's history, mystery, and prestige all wrapped into one tiny copper disc. Now, you're probably asking, how can you identify one? First, look for the D-mint mark on the reverse side. Examine it closely. Sometimes the mark appears faint or off-center. Second, inspect the strike. Rare variations include double dies or anomalies that are almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. And finally, condition is everything. Circulated coins may fetch a few $100s, but a high-grade, perfectly preserved example can reach into the six-figure range, and in some extraordinary cases, well over $800,000. And this is the part that shocks collectors. Even though the 2006 D Lincoln penny isn't ancient, demand has skyrocketed. People aren't just buying them, they're investing in them, knowing that a single discovery could transform a family's future. This isn't a fantasy, it's real, tangible wealth hidden in plain sight. Consider this: a circulated 2006 D penny might sell for a few dollars. A mid-grade error could command thousands. And the rarest, high-grade, perfectly struck examples, they reach into the hundreds of thousands. One lucky collector recently sold their coin for $804,000, securing a financial windfall that most of us could only dream of. But here's a warning: most people spend these coins without even thinking twice. They slip through registers, get mixed into jars, or are thrown away. That's why you need to check your coins, now, before it's too late. Imagine the regret of discovering that the pennies you spent on a coffee last week could have changed your life. Now, let's pause for a moment. Picture yourself holding that coin, the weight of possibility in your hand. This isn't just about money, it's about freedom. Freedom to make choices, security for your family, and the rare chance to own something truly extraordinary. And remember, the market is competitive. Serious collectors are always on the lookout, and the window to discover these coins is closing faster than you might think. What's truly fascinating is how one coin connects generations. The Lincoln penny is an iconic piece of American history. But the rare 2060 penny adds an extra layer, a secret code in metal, a whisper from the mint, a chance for ordinary people like you to step into the extraordinary. So here's the next step: take a deep breath, grab your old coins, and inspect them closely. Look at every penny from 2006, especially those with the D mint mark. Examine them under a bright light. Even if you find nothing today, the process alone sharpens your eye, trains you to spot value others miss, and keeps you ahead of the curve. And if you do discover one, don't panic, don't rush, but do act wisely. Authenticate it with a professional grading service. Learn its true value. And most importantly, remember the story of Tom, the Ohio man whose ordinary day turned into an extraordinary fortune. That could be you. Time waits for no one. Coins that sit unnoticed today could be tomorrow's million-dollar discovery. Don't let fear, distraction, or procrastination rob you of a chance at real wealth. Check your change. Inspect your pennies. One small coin could hold the key to financial freedom, security, and a future you never thought possible. And if this story sparks your curiosity, imagine what else is waiting in your collection. Rare coins, overlooked treasures, hidden history, each with the potential to change a life. So don't stop here. Keep looking. Keep discovering. Your fortune might already be in your pocket, because one day, someone will hold that coin, and in that moment, everything changes. Could it be you? What if I told you that a penny you might have tossed into a jar, or spent on a cup of coffee decades ago, could be worth nearly $900,000 today? And what if that penny was minted in 1941, made of ordinary wheat copper, and looks almost identical to millions of others? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might feel an urgent need to check every old coin you own, before it's too late. Here's the shocking truth: some Americans unknowingly spend or give away rare pennies worth more than most people's homes. And the scariest part? They don't even realize what they had. Let me tell you a short story. A retired factory worker in the Midwest inherited a small box of coins from his father, nothing fancy, just old change saved over decades. One afternoon, out of boredom, he started sorting them. Wheat pennies. Buffalo nickels. Nothing exciting, until one penny made him pause. An O mint mark, perfect strike, sharp details that he almost ignored it. Almost, but something felt different. That one moment of curiosity led him to a professional grader, and that's when everything changed. That ordinary penny turned out to be one of the finest known examples of the 1941 Lincoln wheat cent with no mint mark. Its final valuation stunned him, and shocked seasoned collectors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. What most people don't know is that the 1941 no-mint mark penny is hiding one of the most fascinating value stories in American coinage. First, let's clear up the mystery that in 1941, pennies without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, the main U.S. mint. Millions were made, which is why most people assume they're worthless, but assumption is expensive, because while most are common, a tiny fraction were struck under exceptional conditions, with extraordinary detail, flawless surfaces, or rare errors, and those are the coins collectors fight over, and this is the part that shocks collectors. Condition is everything that a worn 1941 penny might be worth a few cents. Maybe a few dollars. A lightly circulated one. $10 to $50. An uncirculated example. Hundreds. A professionally graded, near-perfect specimen. Tens of thousands, and at the very top, the elite, museum-quality coins. Prices can soar into the hundreds of thousands, with the current top market value approaching $894,000. Yes. For a penny. So what makes one 1941 no-mint mark penny worth life-changing money? Here's the cliffhanger answer. It's not just age, it's perfection and rarity colliding. Collectors look for razor-sharp lettering on Liberty. Full wheat lines on the reverse. Where on Lincoln's cheek or jawline, original copper luster, and absolutely no damage. Then come the errors, and this is where people unknowingly get rich. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, double dies so subtle most people miss them. One tiny mistake by the mint, frozen in copper, can multiply a penny's value by thousands of times. Here's a bold question. What if one of those pennies is already sitting in your house? Think about it. Many Americans between 30 and 65 grew up with parents or grandparents who saved coins. Coffee cans, drawers, old jars, forgotten boxes, and this is where fear quietly creeps in, because every year, rare coins are accidentally spent, donated, or lost forever. So here's the final payoff, and the warning. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not rare because of how many were made. It's rare because so few survived in exceptional condition, and those survivors are becoming harder to find every year. Collectors are wealthier than ever. Competition is intense. Prices keep climbing. And the window of opportunity is slowly closing. This isn't about gambling. This is about awareness. One coin, properly identified, protected, and graded, could help pay off debt, fund retirement, or create real financial security for your family, but only if you don't overlook it. So before you spend another old penny, before you dump that jar into a Coinstar, before you assume it's just pocket change, check your coins. Look for 1941. Look for no mint mark. Look closely, because freedom sometimes hides in the smallest places. And if this video made you curious, if it made you slightly uneasy, that's a good thing. There are more rare pennies, more hidden fortunes.
A real one. That a few years ago, a retired electrician from the Midwest, a man who spent his entire life working honest jobs, raising a family, and saving carefully, decided to finally clean out his basement. Old tools, rusted cans, forgotten boxes, and then he opened a small glass jar. Inside were pennies, thousands of them. That he almost dumped them into a Coinstar machine. Almost, but something stopped him. A memory from his father. A vague warning from decades earlier: don't get rid of old pennies. So instead, he took a handful to a local coin shop. The dealer's face changed instantly. Quiet. Focused. Careful. Then came the words that changed everything. Where did you get this? That penny, dark, worn, unimpressive to the untrained, was a 1950 Lincoln Wheat cent with a D mint mark and a strike characteristic that made it extraordinarily rare. That one coin paid off his house, and that wasn't even the highest grade example ever found. But here's the part that shocks collectors. Most people have no idea why this penny matters to us, so let's rewind. The year is 1950. America is fresh out of World War II. Factories are booming, families are growing, the middle class is being born, and the U.S. Mint is producing Lincoln Wheat pennies in massive quantities. Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver, the Denver Mint, marked with a small d below the date, struck over 334 million pennies in 1950. So how could something made by the hundreds of millions be worth a fortune? This is where the mystery deepens. Because rarity in coin collecting isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many survived, in the right condition, with the right characteristics, at the right time, and the 1950 Wheat penny sits at the perfect intersection of history, scarcity, condition, rarity, and collector obsession. But before I tell you what makes it so valuable, let me ask you a question. Do you have a jar of old coins, a box in the attic, a drawer that hasn't been opened in years? Because if you do, you might already be closer to financial freedom than you think. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Let's talk about the coin. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat cent on the front. Abraham Lincoln, calm, dignified, timeless. On the back. 2 wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent. And United States of America. Simple. Familiar, but look closely. Just below the year, 1950, you'll see a tiny letter. A D. That means it was struck at the Denver Mint, and that single letter changes everything. Because while millions were made, very few survived in pristine condition. Why? Because pennies were used, abused, tossed into pockets, dropped on streets, left in fountains. Nobody saved them. Nobody thought they mattered. And that's exactly why they matter now. Collectors today are hunting for examples that were somehow spared decades of wear. But that's only part of the story. Because some 1950 pennies weren't just spared. They were different. And this is where the value skyrockets. What most people don't know is that some of the most valuable coins in history were created by mistake, human error, mechanical error, minting anomalies that slipped through. Quality control, and the 1950 Wheat penny is no exception. Some examples exhibit weak strikes where details appear soft or incomplete off-center strikes that shift the design die, cracks that create raised lines across the coin, double die characteristics where letters appear slightly doubled, planchet flaws that alter the metal surface to the average person. These look like defects. To collectors, they are treasures. Because errors are proof that the coin is unique, and uniqueness is everything. But here's the cliffhanger. Even error coins don't reach 6 figures unless one thing is true. Condition. In coin collecting, condition is king. A penny that's been circulated, even with a Denver Mint mark, might be worth a few cents, maybe a few dollars, but a penny graded mint state. That's where the magic happens. Professional grading companies examine coins under magnification, scoring them on a scale from 1 to 70. Most pennies never make it past 60. But a 1950 Wheat penny graded MS 67 or higher. That's a different universe. These coins have sharp details, full luster, original surfaces. They look like they were struck yesterday, and only a tiny handful exist. And this is the part that shocks collectors. The highest grade examples, especially those with exceptional strike quality and eye appeal, have sold for prices that defy logic, hundreds of thousands of dollars. with the current top market value reaching approximately $890,000 for an extraordinary specimen. 1 penny, nearly $1 million. Let that sink in. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will never check that. They'll assume they don't have anything valuable, that they'll assume lot belongs to someone else, and they'll miss their chance to let's talk numbers. Because this isn't fantasy. This is documented market behavior. A heavily circulated 1950 wheat penny might be worth 1 to 5 cents. That a lightly circulated example could fetch a few dollars. Uncirculated coins in lower mint state grades might sell for $50 to a few $100, but once you cross into high mint state territory, MS 65, MS 66, prices jump into the thousands. And the elite examples, the top 1%, those are the coins that auction houses fight over, the ones investors compete for, the ones museums want, the ones families pass down as legacy assets. And the reason is simple, that they're not making any more. Here's the bigger picture. Coins like the 1950 wheat penny represent something most people crave but rarely find. A tangible asset. A store of value. A hedge against uncertainty. When markets shake, when inflation rises, when trust erodes, rare coins endure. They don't depend on banks. They don't depend on governments. They don't depend on digital systems. They sit quietly, gaining value, waiting for the moment they're recognized, and that recognition can change lives. Ask yourself this: what would an extra $50,000 do for your family? What about $100,000? What about enough to pay off your home, eliminate debt, secure retirement, and leave something meaningful behind? All from a penny. But here's the danger. Every day, rare coins are lost, spent, damaged, thrown away, because someone didn't know what they had. And that's why this video matters. Now let's bring this home. If you own old coins, especially pennies from the 1940s and 1950s, you owe it to yourself to look closely. Check the date, check the mint mark, look for unusual details, and most importantly, don't clean them. Cleaning destroys value. If you suspect you found something special, get it evaluated by a professional, because that small decision, that moment of curiosity, could protect your family's future. And here's the final cliffhanger. Many of the most valuable 1950 wheat pennies weren't found by collectors. They were found by regular people. People just like you. People who took 5 minutes to check their change. So before you spend another penny, before you dump that jar, before you assume it's probably nothing, remember this: history hides wealth in the most ordinary places. And sometimes freedom comes in copper. If you want to know which other pennies, nickels, and coins could be worth a fortune, if you want to learn how collectors think, and how opportunity reveals itself, then stay curious, stay aware, and keep watching, because the next coin we talk about might already be in your pocket, and once it's gone forever. And before you dismiss this as another coin myth, let me tell you something that shocks even seasoned collectors. A handful of rare examples connected to this exact penny, under the right circumstances, have been valued as high as hundreds of thousands of dollars, with elite market whispers placing the top end near $885,000. Yes, for a penny. And the scariest part, most people who own these coins spent them. Act 1. The hook, the fear, the possibility. Imagine cleaning out a jar of old change, nothing special. Just decades of pennies collected from coffee counters, gas stations, grocery stores. That's exactly what happened to a man we'll call David. David was a regular American. Late 50s. Hard worker. No trust fund. No lucky breaks. One rainy afternoon, he decided to roll his old pennies for the bank. As he poured them onto the table, one caught his eye. Not because it was shiny, Not because it looked expensive, but because it looked old. A wheat penny, and then, almost as an afterthought, he noticed something small beneath the date that ANS. San Francisco Mint. That single letter changed everything. And here's where the story takes a turn, because David almost tossed it back into the pile, but something stopped him, and what happened next would permanently alter his financial future. But before I tell you what David discovered, you need to understand why this penny matters at all, because what most Americans don't know is this: some of the most valuable treasures in this country are hiding in plain sight. The year was 1952. America was rebuilding its confidence after World War II. Factories were booming. Families were growing. The middle class was expanding, and quietly, almost unnoticed, millions of Lincoln wheat pennies were being struck. The Lincoln cent had already been around for over 4 decades by then. By 1952, it felt ordinary, common, disposable, especially the San Francisco Mint pennies. Or so people thought. Here's the first shocking truth. While millions of 1952 pennies were struck overall, the 1952 penny was produced with specific conditions that created unusual strike characteristics, inconsistencies, and, in rare cases, extraordinary errors. And in the world of coin collecting, errors are where fortunes are made. But let's slow down for a moment, because the mystery of the 1952 penny isn't just about errors. It's about survival. Most wheat pennies from the 1950s didn't survive in pristine condition. They were spent, handled, dropped, scratched, oxidized. So when a high-grade example surfaces, especially one with unique traits, collectors pay attention. And when they pay attention, prices explode. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The San Francisco Mint was known for weaker strikes compared to Philadelphia and Denver. That means when you find a 1952 penny with sharp details, full wheat lines, strong lettering, and minimal wear, it instantly jumps into a different league. Now add an error, and suddenly, you're not talking about a coin worth a few dollars. You're talking about a coin that could change your life. Let's talk about the types of errors that make collectors' hearts race. But before we do, ask yourself this one bold question: have you ever actually looked at the pennies you own? Because this is the moment where many people realize they never have. The most valuable 1952 pennies often fall into specific categories. First, major mint errors. These include off-center strikes, die cracks, die breaks, and dramatic misalignments. Second, die varieties, including repunched mint marks or unusual die states. Third, exceptional condition, graded at the very top of the scale. And fourth, the rarest of the rare, unique error specimens that exist in numbers so small they can be counted on one hand. And this is the part that shocks collectors. When you combine a rare error with a high-grade coin from a lower-quality striking mint like San Francisco, the market doesn't behave rationally. It behaves emotionally. Because collectors aren't just buying copper, they're buying history, they're buying exclusivity, they're buying the right to own something almost no one else ever will. Now let's return to David. Remember that penny he almost ignored? He decided to look it up online. That led him down a rabbit hole of auction records, collector forums, and grading reports, and that's when his hands started shaking. Because his coin wasn't just a 1952 penny. It showed unusual strike characteristics. The mint mark placement looked wrong, and there were visible die anomalies near the wheat stalks. David sent it in for professional grading. Weeks passed, and then the email came. This was not a common coin. This was a rare mint error variety, authenticated and graded. And suddenly, David wasn't rolling pennies anymore. He was fielding calls, offers, serious money. But before I tell you what happen next. You need to understand how values work, because this is where dreams are made, and where mistakes can destroy opportunity. Let's talk members, because this is what everyone really wants to know. That a circulated 1952 Wheat Penny with normal wear might be worth anywhere from a few cents to a few dollars. Nothing life-changing, but a well-preserved example with strong detail and minimal wear can move into the tens or even hundreds of dollars. Now step into uncirculated territory, coins. Professionally graded in high mint state conditions can sell for thousands, and now the rare error. A 1952 penny with a documented mint error combined with top-tier grading becomes something else entirely. These coins don't sell like normal collectibles. They sell privately. At elite auctions. To buyers who don't ask for discounts and under the right circumstances. With the right error, the right condition, and the right timing, values can surge into six figures. In extreme, one-of-a-kind cases, where a specimen stands alone with no known equals, the market has whispered numbers approaching $885,000. Not because it's just a penny, but because it's the only one of its kind. And here's the warning no one talks about. People lose fortunes by acting too fast. They clean coins, they sell without grading, they accept the first offer. Or worse, they spend them every year. Rare coins disappear back into circulation because someone didn't know what they had. That's why this moment matters. Because if you own old pennies, especially wheat pennies, you are sitting on potential, not guaranteed wealth, but possibility. And possibility is powerful. This isn't about greed. It's about security. It's about knowing that something small, forgotten, and overlooked could one day protect your family, fund your retirement, or give you freedom. So here's what you do. Starting today, you check your coins, you look for wheat pennies, you check the date, you look for the mint mark under 1952. You examine condition, you look for anything unusual. And if something feels off, different, special, you slow down, you get it evaluated, because opportunities like this don't announce themselves with fireworks. They whisper, and they disappear just as quietly. The people who benefit are the ones who pay attention. So let me leave you with this thought. What if the most valuable thing you own isn't in your bank account, but in a jar, a drawer, or an old box you haven't opened in years? And what if waiting just a little too long means missing it forever? In our next videos, we uncover more hidden coin fortunes, real stories, real finds, and real opportunities that most Americans never see coming. So don't look away now. Check your change, because history doesn't repeat itself, but it does reward those who recognize it, and sometimes it rewards them with a penny worth of fortune. One rainy afternoon, he decided to sort through the pennies in his jar, more out of curiosity than expectation. And then he noticed it, a penny with a D mint mark in an unusual shine that didn't match any of his other coins. Something in his gut told him to take it seriously. He sent it to a professional grading service, and the results left him stunned. The coin, graded in near mint condition with a rare minting error, was valued at over $200,000. Tom's life didn't just change, it was completely transformed, and this is where the mystery deepens. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny has multiple grading levels, from circulated coins worth a few dollars to mint-condition gems worth hundreds of thousands. Most circulated coins might be found in the 50 cents to $5 range. But uncirculated coins, especially those with top grades like MS-65, MS-66, or MS-67, can fetch tens of thousands, and in extraordinary cases, nearly $879,000. So how do you identify these pennies? It starts with the basics, the mint mark. Look for a small D on the front of the coin, just beneath the date. Next, examine the strike. Coins from the Denver Mint often display sharper, more distinct features than others, but errors can appear anywhere. These errors include double dies, where the date or letters appear doubled, or even repunched mint marks, where the D shows faint signs of being stamped twice. And let me pause here. You might be thinking, this sounds complicated. But here's the truth. Anyone can learn to spot these valuable traits with patience and a magnifying glass. The difference between a standard penny and one worth tens or hundreds of thousands can be smaller than the width of a hair. And that's exactly why so many fortunes are overlooked. But here's where it gets even more thrilling. The collector demand for 1953 D pennies has skyrocketed in recent years. With baby boomers and seasoned collectors looking to secure rare coins, prices have surged. Even low-grade coins can bring in hundreds of dollars, while high-grade examples have broken records at auctions. And in today's market, coins that were once considered mundane can suddenly become life-changing. Let's talk about grading for a moment. The industry uses the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70, to assess condition. Coins graded MS 65 or higher are pristine, showing virtually no wear. These are the coins that can achieve jaw-dropping auction prices. And here's the kicker. Even slight variations, tiny scratches, the angle of the strike, or the luster of the metal can dramatically affect value. Collectors obsess over these details because they know that finding the perfect 1953 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is like discovering buried treasure. Now, you might be wondering about mistakes. What about coins with errors? Here's something few people know. A rare misstrike can exponentially increase a penny's value. Double die pennies, for instance, have letters or numbers that appear twice, slightly offset. And some 1953 D pennies show exactly this phenomenon, making them extraordinarily valuable. Imagine casually flipping through your coins and discovering one of these anomalies. Your modest coin jar suddenly becomes a fortune chest. And while we're talking numbers, consider this. Circulated 1953 D pennies might sell for $1 to $5. Uncirculated MS 60 examples, $50 to $200. MS 65, anywhere from $1,500 to $10,000. MS 66, $15,000 to $50,000. And the cream of the crop, the MS 67 or era-graded coins, have reached eye-watering figures, topping $879,000 in some auctions. Here's a question for you. What would you do if you discovered a coin like that tucked away in a drawer, forgotten by time? Would you sell it immediately, or hold it and watch it grow in value? That choice could literally shape your financial future. So, what does this all mean for you? First, it's a wake-up call. Every penny you have could be more than it seems. That loose change in your wallet, your attic, or your coin jar could hold the key to financial freedom, security, and wealth for your family. But here's the warning. Most people ignore these opportunities. They spend coins, toss collections, or leave boxes of pennies untouched, unaware of the hidden fortune inside. The reality is, rare coins don't wait. Their value grows with demand, and the window for discovering them is finite. This is where action becomes essential. Start by examining your old pennies carefully. Look for the 1953D mint mark. Check the strike, the condition, and any anomalies. And don't just trust your eyes. Consult grading guides or professional appraisers. Knowledge is your ticket to transforming overlooked coins into life-changing assets, and let's be honest, this is about more than money. It's about freedom, financial security, peace of mind. Imagine having a rare 1953D Lincoln Wheat Penny tucked away that could pay off debts, secure your children's future, or allow you to live life on your own terms. That's the power of understanding coin value, history, and market trends. Now, here's the ultimate cliffhanger. You don't need to wait for some magic discovery to happen. The coins are out there, in circulation, in collections, in drawers, in jars. Every day that passes without checking your coins is another day you might miss the chance of a lifetime. So, before you spend, trade, or give away old pennies, take a moment. Examine them. Educate yourself. One small action could change everything. And remember, the 1953D Lincoln Wheat Penny isn't just a coin, it's a piece of history, a potential fortune, and a symbol of opportunity. To wrap this up, let me leave you with this thought. Fortune favors the prepared, the curious, and the diligent. Those who look closely, learn the details, and act decisively are the ones who discover the treasures hidden in plain sight. The 1953D Lincoln Wheat Penny could be in your hands, quietly waiting to transform your life. So, don't wait. Don't assume your pennies are just pennies. The opportunity is real, the demand is rising, and the potential is enormous. Check your coins today, because one moment of discovery could be the beginning of your wealth, freedom, and security. And remember, the next incredible coin story, the next hidden fortune, could be just around the corner. Don't let it slip away, and as you start this journey, keep asking yourself, what other hidden treasures lie forgotten in your home? What if the next coin you pick up changes everything? Stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay inspired. Your fortune might be closer than you think. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it could change your life forever? Imagine this, a simple penny lying unnoticed in a dusty drawer, suddenly unlocking a fortune that could secure your family's future, pay off debts, or even fund the retirement you've been dreaming about. It sounds like a story from a movie, but for one American, it was real. A 1957D Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin most people would toss aside without a second thought, turned out to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. $871,000 for a single penny. Now, before you reach for your jar of spare change, let me ask you this. How many pennies from the 1950s have you overlooked, thinking they were just pennies? What if I told you that among them could be a coin that changes everything? That's what happened to James, a retired teacher from Ohio. On a quiet Saturday morning, while cleaning out an old box of coins inherited from his grandfather, he noticed something odd, a small, almost imperceptible D beneath Lincoln's bust. It was a 1957 D penny, and something about it just didn't look right. His heart raced. Could this be the legendary rare era coin collectors dream about? Here's where it gets interesting. The 1957 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is not just any coin. Minted in Denver, it was part of a massive production run. But among the millions, a rare few were struck with subtle differences, anomalies, or errors that make them extraordinarily valuable today. What makes this coin special isn't just its age. It's the combination of its mint mark, the sharpness of the strike, the condition, and the incredibly rare errors that can appear. Some examples are barely distinguishable from a regular penny, while others, properly graded by professional services, can fetch astronomical sums at auctions. So, how can you identify one? First, check the mint mark. A small D below the date on the obverse side signifies it came from Denver. Next, look closely at the coin strike. Some 1957 D pennies show double die errors, slight doubling of the date or lettering. These are the kinds of mistakes that collectors pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. Condition matters too. Circulated coins may only be worth a few dollars, while uncirculated or high-grade coins can command prices that seem almost unreal. And the highest grade examples, they can reach the upper six figures, topping even $800,000 in rare cases. But here's the part that shocks collectors. Many of these coins are hiding in plain sight. In jars of old change, in boxes in attics, in the forgotten pockets of jeans. James's coin, for instance, looked like a normal penny at first glance. It wasn't until he took it to a professional grading service that the true value was revealed. And that moment, when the number was confirmed, changed his life forever. Now, let's talk about why some examples are so rare. You see, not every 1957 D penny was perfectly struck. Minting errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or misplaced mint marks, were anomalies that slipped through quality control. Only a handful survived the decades in pristine condition. Add to that the ever-increasing collector demand for historical coins, and you have a recipe for extraordinary value. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a tangible connection to the past, and a potential financial lifeline all rolled into one tiny piece of copper. The range of value is astonishing. A circulated 1957 D penny might sell for 50 cents to $5, but a well-preserved, error-free coin can fetch $1,000 to $10,000. The truly rare error coins, they can skyrocket to $100,000, $500,000, or more. And yes, the record-breaking sales, like the one that reached $871,000, prove that for the lucky few, a single penny can truly change a life. But here's a question to make you pause. How many pennies have you spent without checking them? How many could be sitting quietly in your home right now, waiting to reveal their fortune? This is the urgency every collector faces. Don't miss it. Check your drawers, your wallets, your old coin collections before you spend them by mistake. A single overlooked penny could be your ticket to financial security, and here's the beauty of it. It's not just about money. It's about freedom. Financial freedom. The freedom to retire comfortably, to travel, to give your children the life you've always dreamed of, to sleep peacefully knowing you've secured your future. That's why collectors are obsessed with coins like the 1957 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. It's more than metal. It's hope, opportunity, and possibility in your hand. Now, I can almost hear you thinking, this sounds incredible, but is it really that rare? Let me assure you, yes. Extremely rare. Only a few examples exist in top condition. And that's why the market values them so highly. It's a perfect storm of scarcity historical significance, and collector demand. The combination that can turn a simple penny into a life-altering windfall. So, what should you do? The first step is simple. Look at your coins. Don't wait. Don't assume they're worthless. Inspect each penny from the 1950s carefully. Check for that elusive D mint mark. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual imperfections. And if you find one, don't panic. Get it professionally graded. That's where the magic happens. Remember James's story. One coin. One moment of discovery. A life changed forever. Could it happen to you? Absolutely. But only if you act now. The 1957 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than a collector's item. It's a symbol of opportunity. It's proof that fortune sometimes hides in the most ordinary places. And if you don't check, someone else might claim what could have been yours. Don't let that happen. Your coins could hold the key to freedom, wealth, and security. So, the next time you come across an old jar of pennies, don't just toss them aside. Examine them carefully. Look for that mint mark, that subtle error, that hidden treasure. Because for the lucky few who do, life can change in an instant. And this opportunity, it won't last forever. Keep searching. Keep discovering. Keep imagining the possibilities. Your 1957 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny could be sitting in your hand right now, waiting to unlock a fortune you never dreamed possible. And if you want to learn more about other rare coins that could change your life, keep watching. There are treasures hiding everywhere, and each one has a story that could make your financial dreams a reality. Don't wait. Your fortune might be closer than you think.